Okay, so we are going to talk about lossy compression today in 10. So here's my question for you. So this is the widget over here with lossy compression, and we have it going through. And you notice lossless compression we did yesterday, right? And so it compressed, and we were able to make it smaller. And so that's what's running over here. Notice it's getting compressed as we go through. How is this widget similar to a widget that you used yesterday, and how is it different? So how is that widget right there similar to what you used yesterday, and how is it different?
It's compressing it.
One is compressing it for us. What else do you notice about it?
It's making the total paragraph smaller.
There's no dictionary. It's making the paragraph smaller. What else is different?
Symbols.
There's no symbols. So they're not taking a symbol or an emoji and putting it in for us. Anything else that you can see?
They only got to 20-something, 22.
Yeah, so they're only at 20-some%. What are they removing a lot of? What? What letter?
A.
So what is A, E, O?
Vowels.
They're removing vowels. So they are just removing the vowels. And they're not compressing as far as you did yesterday, right? So that's something that's a little bit different. That is called active shorthand. So when we went to college, we'd have professors write stuff like between, could, energy, electron. It's just shorthand. So they eliminated vowels from a lot of stuff. Shoot, I had teachers in high school that wrote without history teachers like Mr. Mackner would have slides, but they were white. They were the pieces of paper on the overhead projector. There wasn't a vowel in there unless it was a or I. Yeah, that's deciphering right there. So for your activity today, you want to navigate into this lesson. So we got our studio up, right? You got your widget up. Perfect. So once you have that up, here's the prompt. What do you notice about the quality of the image that is compressed? And what do you notice about the full size of it? So go through, run it for a little bit. Let's read the directions, run it, and then let's talk about what you have. So you just got to run for about a minute, I think. So yeah, play with the slider bar on there. What are you noticing?
Wait, do you want us to say? Wait out loud. You want us to say out? No.
See where that exclamation mark. Do we think we can answer those two questions about observations at this point? Okay, so let's pause and come back. What do we notice about the quality of the image when it's compressed?
Not very good.
It's not good, right? Here's my question for you. Can you tell what the image is? Like right here, this is probably the worst it is, right? What is it?
I can see what it is.
It's a school bus, right? Even though it's a really bad picture. I mean, we all agree with that. Pixelation is awful. You can still tell what it is, right? Why? How do you know that that's a school bus?
You can
kind of still see, even though you can't read it, you can see that there's writing right across the top.
Okay, what else do you notice? Like, what else is that big? The shade of yellow, that's a big red flag, right? What's another identifying characteristic that you're like, yep, that's a bus? Yeah. So you can take your prior knowledge of what you know, because we've all seen a school bus a couple times, and you can be like, that's a bus, right? Do we all feel that? Cool. Okay, what do you notice about the compressed file size? Like when you were running this, what did you notice about that?
It gets really small.
The compression gets really small, right? So what happened when you moved your little ruler around, your toolbar? What happened when you moved that around? The pixels got bigger and smaller. Did your image become more focused and less focused or out of focus as you went through that? And so with lossy compression, we've actually lost some of that so that we can compress it down further so it's easier to send. So this becomes something part of the human mind now. Your mind fills in the gaps. Like right away, your mind told you that's a school bus because you have a frame of reference for that. Very understandable things that are very relatable. You can have more loss than stuff that people don't quite know about. Does that make sense? So if I misspell a word on the board, if I have the first letter and the last letter right and the same amount of letters that the actual word has, your brain will spell that word correctly in your head and you'll know what that is. You can read a paragraph with completely the most horrid spelling because your brain will put it in the correct order because you have a frame of reference. And that's what lossy compression allows you to do. If it's an unrecognizable image, like something that has no familiarity for you, you're not going to be able to lossy compress it. Like you wouldn't, something that nobody's ever seen before, you wouldn't be able to take a photograph of that and lossy compress it without it looking similar to something else, like a frog or a mushroom or something. Does that make sense? Okay, so go to level 3. I'm sure you're already there. Share out the compression you made with the students. You should see some of your images. Try to guess the image. So, you guys ready? You guys ready to guess images? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, we're trying to see how much of this image we have. So, obviously, this one's easy. Is it compressed at all? No, nothing, right? So, this one, what is this?
The crosswalk.
People, is there a crosswalk? Whoa! Is there a crosswalk? Absolutely, there's a crosswalk. Does anyone see a street? Or do you see like a walkway? Walkway, right? So that's kind of a. So is there a lot of lossy compression here? No. Very distinguishable. You can see people's faces. Can you see people? What are the people doing?
That guy looks like
Okay, somebody's on his phone. This guy's on a camera, actually.
Oh, he's on his camera.
Yep, camera. But we got people on their phones. Okay. So if you're sending text messages to a friend, but you are almost running out of data on your phone, which one would be the best one to send so that you could send it and they would still understand it? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
Who says 3? We're gonna vote. Who says 4? Okay. Why didn't we pick 1 or 2? So these would be hard to send, right? They'd just be sitting there. Your friend may never get the picture. Why did you guys pick 3 over 4?
4 could be too fuzzy.
So then they wouldn't know what is actually going on. Okay. And why did you guys pick 4 over 3?
Still see it, yeah.
Yeah, there's still people. You can still tell there's a walkway and people. Could you tell what everybody's doing?
Probably not.
No. Could you still in 3 though? So does it matter what you're trying to have your friend look at? Yeah. So here is, you are now, there's something with this. You are a crime scene photographer. It's part of the image of the crime scene photo. So this is a crime scene photo now. Which one becomes the best photo to determine that? Everyone agrees with one. Why?
Because you need to be as precise as possible.
You just see every detail.
Yeah, because how many of you have seen the videos that come online? We're trying to identify this person. And it's like the shadiest, most pixelated gas station security camera ever, right?
Yeah.
They're like, we need, and it's just his face. It's all the story. Who's like, oh yeah, that's my neighbor? Like, can you tell who that is? So we agree, crime scene has to be number one. Social media. You're a social media manager posting this on your Instagram story, an event that is happening now. This is a major event. Which one do you post?
I'd say 1 or 2.
I'd say 2.
Okay, why did we say 2 instead of 1?
Because it's a little bit compressed, but it's still fairly clear, so you can see what everyone's doing. You can still see like the sign in there, but it's not as large of an image.
Is that kind of, do we concur on that? Okay. 5. This image will be part of a collage where you have hundreds of copies which will be switched together to make a larger image. So you know those, like when we do the school pictures and then it says like Warner School or something on there and then it's all your faces? They're going to do that. Which one do you use then?
Honestly, I'd say 4, because it's going to be a tiny image that you're not really gonna see anyway.
Because when you do this,
It's like,
are we looking at, what are you looking at? Like, what are you trying to get people to see?
the bigger
big
picture made out of the tiny one.
Okay, 4. All right, I like this. Okay, 6. You are a professional photographer submitting to a design competition where your submission will be carefully judged on color and composition.
1.
Not even a question, right? Like 1. And why 1?
Because if you're getting judged on color and composition, you need to have the highest resolution image you can.
Agreed. How many of you, okay, seniors, sorry, this will be you next year. How many of you want your senior pictures when you're proofing those to look like number 4? Nobody? What? How many want them to look like number 1? Senior pictures are expensive, right?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
I'd be mad if my senior pictures look like number 2. I'd be like, we should retake those or Photoshop or do something, right? How many of you would be mad if all your senior pictures look like?
I would be out.
If you got one picture like number 1 and then the rest of them look like number 2, would you be mad?
I'd be
I
outraged.
demand a refund.
Yeah,
I even
because
want to see my mom's reaction.
I got yelled at my sister too much for them to be blurry.
perfect. So when we start looking at this stuff, when is it important to have that lossy compression and when is it not important to have it? You guys decide. You're talking to me. Like, when do you feel it's important? Not just Holly either. Not any offense, Holly. I appreciate that you're talking and adding, but
Sorry, guys.
it's okay. I know she's super quick on the answers, which I'm okay with. But everybody else, when is it okay? Mandy, and then Isabel.
When like you are gonna not really be looking at the photo itself, but
When the detail in the photo doesn't matter, right? The photo itself doesn't matter. Okay, so I like that. Isabel.
It's like too small, or you can't see it anyway. You want to be able to see like the word that's in it.
Yeah, so it's not gonna matter. Okay,
You know, try and take that
save that.
and send it fast.
Dylan.
I was gonna say speed.
When like you're sending it like just for fun to like a friend or something.
Fun. Holly.
I mean, And I got all mine.
Kind of got all yours? Okay. When is detail not important? What are some scenarios? You guys tell me. You're the ones that send. How many of you send pictures? Yeah, exactly. All of you. So now when is it? When is detail not important? Fun can kind of go with detail not important.
When you're taking a snapshot of your face and you look really dumb and it's
Okay.
nice to
Bad selfies. What else?
memes.
Memes. What else?
Like whenever like the picture isn't the main thing, like if you have like a text with it too.
Okay, so like a text with pic. Picture. What else?
Like what we were talking about earlier, if you did like a collage of pictures to make like a
So that collage.
image.
When in your everyday life, are you sending pictures like this, or are you sending pictures uncompressed?
Probably more like that.
More like this, right? How many of you guys use Snapchat?
Me?
You have Snapchat right now.
Yeah, right. A little bit. Hayden's favorite thing on Snapchat is to go through my filters and take pictures of herself when she sticks her tongue out and she's got dog tongue or ears or she gets freckles on her face. How many of you like use those? Yeah, right? Okay. So a great example is Snapchat for Lossy Compression. Does it matter? Have you ever taken the filter off and then you put the filter back on? You're like, whoa, I don't even look the same today. Because I'm not wearing makeup, but I look good in this picture. Right? The filter is built into Snapchat's program. So they send everything through Lossy Compression. Because it's fun, it saves data and goes fast. The size doesn't matter because they're putting their sizing you to the screen. Because otherwise your nose would not be this long, my face wouldn't be like a baby. And the detail of you doesn't matter because the filter changes that detail, doesn't it? All of Snapchat's pictures are done in Lossy Compression.
Some of them make you more blurry. Or like
Yeah, the filter is what's doing it, right? But that filter's with the program. So unless you take a screenshot of that, can you send that to other applications? No. So if I want to take, because my husband doesn't have Snapchat, I have to take a screenshot of Hayden's selfie and send it to him. Otherwise, it all remains in. What's one of the things that you love most about Snapchat? It's my sister loves most. How long is your picture there? When you send it to somebody.
I have mine set for
Technically, there's
unlimited,
infinity
but
now, but
Okay, well, obviously Snapchat has all rights to everything that you ever post. The same with Facebook, Instagram, and every other social media thing. They own your picture. They have it on a server. It never truly goes away. But for you, is it there? Like, unless you do something so that you can access those pictures again, can you? How many of you like that? How many of you like clearing out your text messages all the time? Yeah. How many of you leave your text messages and like, oh, I got like 1,500 text messages. I need to just delete all. Yeah, some people do though, right? So that's my sister loves Snapchat because she doesn't clean it out. She's like, they're gone. She's like, I can still snap those people back because that's my frequent message people. But she's like, what do I care? The picture's gone, the stuff's gone in. I don't have to go to delete text messages. I love it. She only contacts me through Snapchat. So when is it not important? So now, Holly, we're going to start with you because we made you go last on this one. So we know Snapchat is one of these loosey ones. So when is it important to not compress?
for things like if you're like an art student and you need to make like a portfolio or something
Yeah.
like that for like college or a job or something.
Okay.
It needs a high resolution.
Okay, what? We'll go through those. Steph.
Like,
That
kind
is-
of going back to the job thing.
It's your job.
Yeah.
It's your job. Dylan,
When the details in the picture matter.
Details matter.
We have to submit homework online.
Homework.
Yeah, we have to go to our notes on our.
Oh man, how many of you were happy that PDFs, that you could scan your stuff as PDFs instead
And
of
not take a
taking
picture
pictures?
and upload it.
Oh yeah, because Mrs. Jung I thought was gonna pull her hair out 2 weeks into the math assignments because she's like, I can't even read their work. Their pictures are so bad. Like Lossy Compression. Okay, summer
Like research.
research. Anything else? What are some positions that you would have to have for this? Like, what are some real life applications for this? Other than crime scene, we got that, right? Nobody needs to identify from a blurry camera.
Senior picture photographer.
See, yeah, photographers. Photographers. What else? Teachers, right? How many you want to see just a crappy picture that I put on the board? You're like, oh, that doesn't even look like a giraffe. What else?
Even like microbiologists. Like,
Scientists, right? So the whole field of science. We need details because, like Summer's right, research. If we're trying to share an image of something that we first identified, and especially like microbes right now, how many of you have seen a picture of the coronavirus on TV? Yeah, it's because that's what it actually does look like. They've taken pictures of it now. They made it pretty and colorful, but they've electron microscope. They took pictures. So does this matter? Yeah. What else?
Like when you like deal with stats and stuff like that, if you like can't read the picture that's sent to you.
Not even like not just pictures. Video. So people who do stats for like professional football teams, they use things like Huddle. Those people actually, like if we got Huddle to do our stats, as a high school team, we can have Huddle do our stats. Huddle's our videotaping program. They will literally, you have to have it to the back so we can see all of your jersey numbers, and they will stat everything that happens in the match. Before, it didn't work very well. Could we do it this year? Yeah, we don't switch sides of the court. It'd be great. We can send it in, and they'll do all of it. They actually have an algorithm in a program that does it. But if your video is poor quality, it can't read the stats. Professional, every team does this. Because it's more precise, and then they actually have a person that overlooks all of it. What else? There's one more. Big one.
Yeah.
How do you want to go watch a movie that's blurry?
When my Netflix gets blurry, it makes me angry.
Oh, right?
It's like right when they're trying to show you like a little video too,
Yeah.
and you can't see what it is.
And you used to work at a movie theater. If the camera was out of focus when you guys did your, like, because you had to chill before, like,
Miss, the screen on the thing looks a little funky. I'll go look at it. Nobody changed it.
film resolution matters. And is every film the same?
No, you have to adjust it.
You have to adjust it per film. So that makes sense. Just says photographers have to just adjust for lighting. They have to adjust for indoor versus outdoor. They have to adjust for the person themselves. Because a 5-foot person is a lot different than a 6'4" person when you're shooting angles in photography. And so they have to adjust for that so that they can get the same quality of image. Does that make sense? Okay, so we understand why these are important. Okay. So, here's our prompts. I'm going to let you read them, and we're going to start with number 1.
So can we run and then click finish for the slide 3?
Yeah. After our discussion, we should be able to answer this one pretty quick, right? When is a good idea to use lossy compression?
Lossy or lossless?
Lossless, sorry.
Um,
Lossless compression.
So like, if you've got a huge message and you want to make it take up less space,
Yeah.
Whether you're like sending a big like file, like a book over email.
How many of you have heard of a zip file before?
Heard of it, don't know what it is.
Okay, so a zip file, teachers use zip files, professors use zip files. You guys will get zip files when you're in college, I'm sure, especially just because. So when you open a zip file, it's kind of like, how do they explain it? You've ever seen those shows where the lady's like laying on the bed and they're trying to zip her pants up, like her friends are trying to help her zip her pants up because she's trying to wear skinny jeans that are way, like a size maybe too small? That's like a zip file. When you open a zip file, there's hundreds of documents in there. So we'll send zip files because you can't email 200 documents in an email. So this summer I took a cyber.org class and they emailed us all the documents that we can use for this entire class we took. 500 documents. It was in a zip file. It's a year-long class. They zipped it up and they sent it in an email. And you can't open a zip file until you uncompress it. Once you uncompress it, it's like, not literally, okay, figuratively. But when you open it, it's all these folders and it's like, folder. It's like all 10 units. Every unit has its own little lesson, so there's subfolders within the folders and all these, there's like 500 documents in there. Could I have sent that on an email?
No.
How many of you had problems sending pictures and emails last year just to each other? If you compress it, which I don't think your Chromebooks will let you, you can compress it as you can on a normal computer. You can send hundreds of photos. And they're the same quality as if you sent one.
We've been uploading pictures for our speech or something.
Yeah, uploading pictures for comp. That'd be great. So, lossless compression is important when we're doing that. And zip files are that. Zip drives will do this as well. When should you use Lossy compression? Or lossy compression. Lossy compression. When is that important? Like, when would you use it every day?
What, you're just trying to send stuff faster?
Snapchat.
Fun stuff. Social media, unless you're making money off social media, does it really matter how the quality or resolution of your picture?
No.
No, unless you're like an influencer and that's your only job,
I wish.
then
Do
it doesn't
how
matter.
nice it would be to just make money taking pictures of yourself and putting them on Instagram.
I don't wanna do that.
It takes so much.
Like I
Yeah,
would.
so just to post a video. And how is there videos like garbage quality or is it good quality?
Some of them are.
Some of them are like a second.
Oh,
one,
really?
You get like $20,000.
I feel like celebrities, like Jason Derulo and people like that, like they
They
have
try.
good quality because they have like cameras and like light ring.
Yeah.
And other people who are just like famous on TikTok is just like another.
Charlie D'Amelio will just like
A mirror
smile
selfie.
and then
A mirror
5
selfie.
Yeah.
billion likes.
A blurry image. For the next
Charlie D'Amelio got a nose job and put a video of her laying in bed with a nose job, like after getting a nose job, and got like 4 billion likes.
Wow. Okay. Well, people need to get a like. That's weird. Okay. What are the most important factors in making this decision? So between these two, when is it important and when is it not important?
The most important would probably be depending on what you're sending.
What's important to you guys?
What message you're trying to convey? Like, does it have to involve the picture? Is the picture the thing?
Even if it's a picture, a video, or just a lot of text.
What you want them to see.
It's what you want them to interpret. If you don't care, okay, so you guys are all in college online courses, right? Of some type. How many of you care about the quality of work that your professor sees? How many of you would rather have number 1 versus number 2 for your homework being turned in? Yeah, you want lossless compression, right? I mean, you worked hard on those papers and those pictures and those videos and whatever else you had to do. Do you want them to not interpret it or leave it up to interpretation? Because is the professor going to interpret it that well? No. What about your boss at a job that you like? Do you want to have lossless? So things that, like your professional, and you guys kind of put that, professional stuff. You want to have that lossless. Also, when it's going to be between, like maybe right or wrong, like, am I going to get arrested because I look like the grading picture, or am I not going to get arrested? Okay? So that becomes important. And when is it not as important?
Man, it's fun stuff.
When it's fun stuff. Because honestly, how many of you have more than 100 close friends that you talk to on a daily basis? I mean, close. So you got to talk to them all the time.
Yep, same.
How many of you have more than 100 people on Snapchat or Facebook?
Oh,
Yeah.
Right? My Snapchat has 25 people in it that I actually snap. Huh?
That's how many people I snap.
like
Right?
actually
On a
snap
daily
back.
basis, probably. My
Really
Facebook
hard.
has like, I don't even know how many people are on my Facebook. That's a lot. Does it matter? People I don't see every day, what they think of me? Does it matter what people who are giving me a grade or a paycheck think of what I'm doing? Yeah, and that's what you have to think of when you do lossy compression. Okay, so with this lossless compression or lossy compression, we're reducing those numbers to bits and zeros in a process that is not reversible. Lossless, we could reverse it, right? This is not reversible, so we're not going to gain that pixelation back. So when we go from this binary code, we're losing some of it to go to that one. We could still tell what the school bus was, right? So we could still identify the image, but was it clear? Not really. And that's what happens with lossless. So you now have your